Hi, I'm Dawn, and this is usually where Shabby meets Bling. But tonight, this is where Rustic meets Bling. Welcome to Rustic Wednesday. But on Saturday, I would like to thank my co-host Shelly, who is the queen of all things rustic and primitive from Repurposed My Way, for joining me tonight. You're going to find the link to her channel as well as this playlist in the description box below. After Halloween last year, I picked up these 3 wood chip pumpkins, and yes, they say $4.97, but I'm no dummy. I waited until it was 90% off, and I got them for 49 cents. Now, these little metal candlesticks, absolutely love them. The shape is really cool. I got them for a song at Goodwill. It was a yellow tag when I picked them up, and they are solid brass. First thing that needs to be done is to disassemble. So I am removing, and it's just screwed in, the little metal stake thing that holds your candle in place. And I'm also removing the plate that the candle sits on. Now, this one bought me a little more than the other one, but I kept at it and I was eventually successful. So both candlesticks have been disassembled. On to the pumpkins. Okay. When I looked at these in the store, I did not see 3 little pumpkins. I saw 3 artichokes. Yes, in my goofy little brain, these were artichokes. So that's what we're going to make. We're going to make artichoke finials. And we will have an extra one because I'm going to do something special with it too. But I'm removing the stems on 2 of them, on the 2 prettier ones. And I'm going to, just to use hot glue, I'm turning down the temperature a bit because I don't want to melt the styrofoam inside the little pumpkin, aka artichoke. And I am going to glue them to the tippy top of my candlesticks. I do glue a toothpick inside each of my little pumpkins and then glue that toothpick down inside of the candlestick just for a little more stability. And make sure it's on there good. And then I am also gonna make sure I pick off all the extra glue strings from my hot glue. And these things are not like the highest of quality, of course. I mean, it's Walmart, you know, and I got them for nothing. So the wood chip pieces are glued into place, and there's a lot of like dried strings on them as well. So through this whole process, I picked off these little dried strings of glue just to make it look a little more presentable. But of course we are going to paint. I am starting off with a spray paint. I'm hitting both pieces with Hunt Club Green, and it is a Rust-Oleum. And now I am going to use my Sage chalk paint. And this is Hello Hobby from Walmart as well. So it's kind of a Walmart and Goodwill kind of situation happening here. And I will completely cover all 3 artichokes. Now, do you see the artichoke? It is stylized, I have to say, but it, to me, my eye says artichoke. So I'm running with it. I'm gonna paint them, and I love this color of sage. It's absolutely gorgeous. So we'll get them all painted and then add some rustic elements. This poor darling little feed sack was in my garage, and you know, the fault lays fully on me. I did not put it in the Rubbermaid container with all the rest of my feed sacks, so a little mouse decided it needed parts of it to keep itself warm. So I guess it just added to that rustic element because this thing is in shambles. So I'm cutting it apart, and I'm cutting it apart to create some ribbon, some bows for my artichokes. I will also be using some of this striped ribbon, or maybe even the solid black to enhance them. Not sure yet, but one of them will get used. Here is another thrifted item, and it is brass as well. This came from my favorite shop, and it was only $3, and I really like it. The thing I don't like about it is how shiny it is. I know likey the shiny, so we're gonna get rid of that. I am going to do a process on this to age it, and it actually moves pretty darn quick. This is not a rusting process. This is kind of an aging process, but you can see by my hand how big it is. So step 1, ammonia. Yes, ammonia. And if you use ammonia, please be careful. Wear goggles, well-ventilated area, read the directions, follow them carefully, because this stuff is really disgusting. But what I'm doing is I am going to place my beautiful little compote into the bucket, and I'm going to give it a little bit of a spray. I'm going to spray the entire thing all over and make sure that I hit it all, because you really need to hit every bit of it, and not only the spray of the ammonia itself, but the fumes. Those fumes are going to turn this thing, and it's going to turn it and turn it fast. So make sure you hit the entire thing, and then we're going to seal it up in this bag, because this is too tall to put the lid on, and it's a little too wide as well. After it has only sat for a couple of days, and you can already see how much it's turned. Now, the part that was in the bottom, it will peel off if you leave it down in there, but we want it to look the same as the top. So now this is step 2, which is basically step 1 repeated, and I am spraying that base, the base of it, so that it turns that beautiful color as the top. And once I have it totally sprayed, we will put it back into the bag to sit again. Just the bag this time. We're not going to let it sit inside the entire bucket. It's just in this bag. I pull the top up, I seal it really good with a big old twisty, and once again, when you're working with any kind of chemical or whatnot, just always be cautious. Do as the bottle says. Don't do anything that the bottle doesn't say, and just be careful, because this is a great medium to work with to age things. This method was told to me by my good friend Kathy. I will link her Instagram account, Daydreaming on Dement, in the description box below. Now, here it is, the kind of final reveal. Before the final reveal, oh no, not so fast, you can't see it yet. Now, this is what started it all. Kathy told me to, if I wanted to, see, I was looking to rust something really fast, and she told me about this, how you could just age something really fast, and 2 different things. So she said to suspend something in a bucket over ammonia. Well, I took it the next step further, Don Jones. I stuck it in the ammonia, and this came out pretty quick, and you can actually see some of the exterior of the bell paint floating in the bottom there. I just dunked these babies, and that's what they look like, and then I clean them up, and you can see what they look like in their entirety in my video. I will post that. It is one of my wedding videos that I did for on the tables, and once they cleaned up, they are amazing. You really have to check it out. I will add the link to Bridal Fair 2024 episode 4 in my description box below. Back to the Goodwill. This tin I thought was really cool in shape, with the handles and the metal lid, and how sturdy it was, and I thought it was hideous with the decor on the outside. So I thought, for $2.49, I'm gonna take this little baby and I'm gonna change it. We are gonna rustify this little cutie. For this project and my next project, I will be using the same technique, and it's the same technique I used in one of my thrift flip road trip videos where I made my candlesticks, and I will leave that link in the description box below. But I start off with just using some spray paint, and since most rusts have a background element color of either red or orange, I am just using up some of my old claret wine spray to give everything its first coat. The tin and the lid both are getting this. And then I am gently misting in some Rust-Oleum brown. And this is a flat brown spray paint. And I'm just letting the two come together and meld, shall we say. So that's step one, is to get that, I'm saying hideous because I think the print on the exterior of this little tin is just hideous. So it's got to go away, and then we can come in with a second coat. So we can't just have a big old brown metal bucket. So pretty images must go on. And these images are from Traci Vanover Designs, Traci V, in the house. And I was looking for an artichoke print, and she had a beautiful one along with some other veggies, and I printed them out in the size that I wanted them to place on the tin so that it took up the amount of space I wanted. So keep in mind, all images can be made bigger or smaller, and you can add things to them and take away. But right now, it's project time. It's time to bust out the Mod Podge, and I am using the high gloss here because, well, maybe it's just the gloss, I don't know, because it's not going to be seen. And I really am not overly fond in most applications of using the gloss on the front of my project. So I'm going to Mod Podge all these little images onto my bucket, and then we go from there. Yes, we do. Now, I will be using another one of Traci's images and changing it a little bit. I need something round for the top, and I am going to pop it into Canva and alter it somewhat by just adding some things at the bottom and adding a circle around it, so I've got a nice circular image for the top of this rusty little can. Make room for another thrift store find back at my Goodwill. Now, keep in mind, this little gem, sturdy, beautiful. Oh my God, I am in love with this little thing, this wire basket. It is heavy duty. And keep in mind, this was $2.49 on a red tag, which means it was $1.50. You can't pick up something this quality at the Dollar Tree. So, think about thrift stores, people, instead of just Dollar Tree. Great for many things. Don't get me wrong, I shop Dollar Tree, but thrifting is where you're really going to find quality items. So I am taking this guy and I am going to rustify. I am adding some of my gingerbread mixture paint, which you can check out in my gingerbread videos, the combo I use. And I am using that mixture that I show you in my Halloween thrift flip road trip video. So check those out, and you can see how I'm just adding little bits here and there of this powder, and I'm using my paint to make it adhere. When I'm done with all this, I will seal it in places, not everywhere, with those two colors of paint I showed you and used in this video previously. And I will use the same process on the bucket. So there we have it. Rusty, you gotta love it. All my rustic projects are complete. Let's take a look. What started out as 3 little pumpkins now are 3 beautiful artichokes. We did a veggie flip-flop, and there they are, and made rustic and primitive by adding the frayed burlap that was already old and grungy, and I even frayed out the ribbon. If you notice, I cut it in half because it was a little too large. I am totally in love with my stylized artichoke finials. And here's our rusty old wire basket. Seriously, is that real rust on there? Is it? I don't know. I don't think so. But boy, it really pulls off the look. And how about our artichoke? Let's take a look at our artichoke. There it is, just nestled in that basket with more shabby old burlap and some other artificial veggies. Absolutely gorgeous, and it kind of makes me hungry. Remember our brass compote? Where were we when I was showing you the reveal? Oh, hey, we were about right here. Let's take a look at her now. Wow, right? The difference? The absolutely huge difference. It is quite something. After a nice scrubbing to make sure I got everything off of this little beauty, she just is simply amazing. It looks old. It looks old. And I know because I look in the mirror every day. I know what old looks like. And she is spectacular. Look at the colors. Now you could take this a step further and rust it, which I may do so in that center section. I'm not sure yet, but I think she's absolutely beautiful. If you look at the colors, absolutely spectacular, guys. Super happy. Try this. Be careful with the ammonia. That's all I'm going to say, but it's well worth the effort. Let's not forget about that hideous little tin pail. It's not hideous anymore. It's old and rustic and gorgeous. I love it. I really love how this came out. I wanted my images to look almost semi-painted on there, and the rust just took over and annihilated it in all the good ways. And I even rusted the rim on the top. You can see here that I created a band with veggie images to go around the top of my bucket. I used similar scrolls and so forth that were on the original images, so it married together beautifully. I even rusted the handles. They would be, wouldn't they? And the base, where it sits down touching the ground, would also be extra rusty, so I made sure I put extra rust, extra rust please, at the bottom. But boy, this thing looks old. It truly does. I think I could probably fool some people. And now for a rust update. If you will remember these two little gems, also brass, I dramatically altered their appearance in my rusting video, and I used the natural technique to do so. But aren't they spectacular? Absolutely love the finish that was created on these two little pockets, and I will be doing something special with them in the future. Thanks again to Shelly from Repurposed My Way and everyone else that contributed to this fabulous Rustic Wednesday playlist. You're going to find the links to Shelly's channel as well as this playlist in my description box below. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a like. Share it with your family, your friends, anyone that loves decor, especially rustic, rusty, or primitive decor. You can follow me on Instagram, and don't forget to check out my shop on Etsy. Leave me a comment. I would absolutely love to hear from you. But for now, this is Dawn with Shabby Meets Bling. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time.